why do you think that theta is becoming so popular all across the world as a healing therapy?
Good question, but I think the answer is actually very simple because it works. And people see it work very quickly, very efficiently. So they love it and they do it. Most people actually want to learn it themselves anyway. And it's not connected to any certain belief system. All you need is really a desire to do it, first of all. And actually what you do need is a belief in God, or in the quantum energy field, or call it Allah, Buddha, but that vibration that holds infinite possibility. You need that's all you need.
So is theta healing religious? Because we do talk about, we have spoken about God, which I'd like to explore a little bit.
Yes.
Now, is theta healing religion?
Well, I wouldn't. No, it's definitely not a religion.
Oh, so I'm religious. Is it?
Well, you can be religious, but you don't have to be. That's you can be anything really. As I said, you can call it God, you can call it quantum energy field, but you do need to acknowledge that there is a vibration, a field, an energy field in this universe that we're in, that contains infinite possibilities, that contains, it's also that field where you get ideas from. And that energy field is, most of the time we imagine that's something outside of us, but in reality it sits inside of us. And that is a beautiful journey, actually, part of theta healing, where you first of all you think you're accessing something outside and something that's bigger and greater than you, but then when you learn and really understand what healing and what that vibrational healing is all about, you know that it's inside of you, that you are that God that you're working with. You're accessing your own divine self for the healing to take place. So no, it's definitely not religious. I always like the word spiritual because I think it covers it all. But it's probably a meditational healing modality, because when you enter the theta brainwave state, you're in a very deep trance meditative state, really.
So what my understanding of it is, in relation to God, quantum energy, so you're collaborating with God to create a change and a healing. And am I correct in saying that? Because I remember when I first learnt that, I felt a little bit uncomfortable about that. Can I collaborate with, the energy of all that is?
Absolutely.
To create that.
It's a really good point. I had very similar things, and I also had a lot of experience from my mother, who also always said, you can't talk with God, no one can talk with God.
Yeah.
But we would say it's just beliefs that you can change, it's part of your upbringing, your belief, feeling system, your history, and you can change that and become, become comfortable in working with a divine energy. I rather call it a God energy or divine energy because, like I said, it's not really something outside of you, it's something inside of you. So you're actually only collaborating with your own God self, because you're collaborating with the vibration, not with the image that we maybe have, a childlike image of God in our head. That's not quite how it works, but that's probably. And there's, especially in the theta courses, you'll do a lot of clearing on beliefs that you have around God, which is really, really useful. Most of us have some kind of preconceptions about God, or a fear around God, or have the idea that God is a punishing God, or that you can do something wrong, or a bigger eye is watching you. And that is all things which actually it makes you feel so much lighter, so much freer after you've done the course.
So it sounds like it's like for connecting with that God energy, that you're working on beliefs that are no longer wanted, or that no longer, one might say, serve you.
Absolutely.
And also feelings, like learning about feelings, bringing in positive feelings into your life.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I find most kind of interesting about theta, because you're connecting the most important parts of yourself through a relationship with God.
Or ultimately with yourself, I would say.
Yes. With what you've explained, I can see that now. Just as we're closing, can you share an experience perhaps that you've had with a client that's kind of demonstrated to you what theta is and perhaps really touched you?
I think, yes, I know. It touched me because, well, as you know, I just had my son 7 months ago, and one of my very long-term clients, he first came to me for Reiki sessions, was way before I even started doing any theta healing. And I'm not always just doing one thing. It just happened, we did other things, and once I started doing theta, I was like, oh, I want to try the theta. And he came every week to me for over a year, I think. And alongside me, he went 3 times a week to a psychotherapist. So he was basically almost every day of the week, he was busy. He comes from I would say, a very challenging upbringing. He's adopted and experimented a lot with drugs, but he's done pretty well for himself. He became a director of a company then one day. So he really worked hard on himself. So there's me then doing the theta, all of a sudden telling him about the theta and how amazing it is, so he wanted to do it. And all of a sudden we started doing theta, and all of a sudden he said, no, I'm not going to see my psychotherapist anymore now, after over 10 years of psychotherapy. And it just all of a sudden dropped away. And he didn't come every week for theta healing. He came all of a sudden every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. And one of his biggest dreams was to be, this client was mid-40s, I would say, or end 40s. His dream was to have a family of his own, to be in a relationship, and to have a child of his own. That was really, he thought even about adoption. He really, all the options. And well, to cut a really long story short, all of a sudden he stops coming, and one day, weeks later, I hear that he's in a relationship now, and weeks later I hear that this woman is pregnant.
Oh wow!
Yes, and he had his daughter 3 weeks before I had my son.
Oh, how beautiful!
And yeah, it was really, really touching. The whole, to see and feel the whole journey, and he was growing with me as well, which is the other amazing thing about theta, is we're all connected and we're all one. Everything I work on with someone else is clearly my story in one or the other way as well, and that was a really nice parallel process. We arrived in a heart space, I would call it. To have a baby is probably a very heartfelt experience.
Oh, that's beautiful. So he was able to bring into his life what he wanted for himself.
Yes, and really his absolute ultimate goal at the time. I really think he's probably new goals now, and he's got new challenges, but that was the